Welcome to Never Again Is Now, a podcast about anti-Semitism. I am Evelyn Marcus.
And I am Phyllis Zimbler Miller.
Zohram Mamdani may be the next mayor of New York. What effect could Mamdani's opinions, actions, and policies have on the extreme anti-Zionist activity in the city that has made many Jewish New Yorkers feel uncomfortable? We'll discuss this and more with Dalia Ziada, an Egyptian political analyst specializing in the Middle East and radicalism in the West. She is coordinator and research fellow at ISGAP, the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy in Washington, D.C. Dalia was a civil rights activist in the Arab Spring revolutions of 2010 and 2011 and bravely took a stance against Hamas in support of Israel after the October 7 attacks. Dalia, it's great to have you in our show. Thank you so much for coming on, for making the time to come on.
Thank you so much, Evelyn and Phyllis. It's a great pleasure to be with you, and I hope we make a good conversation today that people can benefit from.
Right. I'm sure we will. So, can you please tell us about the opinions, affiliations, and actions of Zohram Mamdani in the past in relation to Israel?
Of course, and but before I start, I would like to make a statement that I'm not saying this from a political perspective, but I'm saying this as someone who's observing the American society and has been observing the actions of the radical left and radical Islamism and their desire to destroy the American society from within for so long. I believe Zohran Mamdani, actually, if you look at him, stripped of all all the ideologies that he's identifying with right now, he's a great candidate, a young person, charismatic. He has followers. He has the ability to communicate with people from different cultures. He has also a diverse cultural background and so on. Yet he's now, unfortunately, he allowed himself to be used as a puppet by both the radical leftist and the radical Islamist ideologies. That has been, I think, a chronic problem in the Democratic Party for a while. They feel that this is their base and they need to, their voter base, and they need to please this base. And in the process, they are actually empowering these groups to weaponize democracy to destroy American democracy. And I am not sure if they are already realizing it. The example of Zohran Mamdani is a perfect example of what I like to call the sinful marriage between the radical left and radical Islamism in the past few years. It's so evident in his rhetoric that is full of resentment towards Israel, and toward this, until recently, he started to change that toward the Jewish people, which is so interesting because actually, if we understand why this attack is happening on Israel in particular, or why all this hype is happening against Israel in the United States, actually, we didn't see Americans polarized over the China-Taiwan conflict or the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But when it comes to the Israel-Hamas conflict, they are polarized. And there is a reason for that. The attack on the Jewish people in the American society or in Western societies in general is an attack on the Western society itself. The Jewish communities in these Western societies are the main pillar upon which these societies are standing. Why? Because these perhaps the only communities that still value the sense of the collective, the working together, having similar culture that they embrace so dearly. They have a similar religious background that they embrace so dearly and unify them. That's actually what is keeping the West, which now we know is not that coherent anymore, this is the only coherent group that is kind of the core or the main pillar that's keeping the West together. That's why these two groups, the radical left and the radical Islamists, has been trying for so long to destroy this main pillar by through several attacks. But of course, their golden opportunity was what happened in the past 2 years with the October 7 attacks and then the Gaza war and the footage of war coming from the Middle East. This was their golden opportunity. But there are even videos for Zohran Mamdani long before that. He was speaking negatively about Israel, about actually a video I saw recently. He made a weird connection between police officers here in the United States and the IDF officers in Israel. Very weird connection that actually, if you are from the Middle East like myself, you will understand that it doesn't make any sense. But it appeals to his audience, to this type of people that unfortunately for so long the Democratic Party are thinking they are the pace, the voter pace, that they need to appease and they need to do things to please. So this is a challenge here. I think eventually Zohran Mamdani will win, but I hope his ideology, this mix between socialism and Islamism, does not win on the long run.
Well, he made a remark in the past about I think alleged police brutality being linked to alleged connections or training from the IDF to American police departments. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's actually what I was trying to
Yeah.
refer to. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is nonsense, you say.
It doesn't make any sense because
No.
claiming that the IDF came here to train New York Police Department to be suppressive and to the American people, it doesn't make any sense. First of all, does not Israel is not an expansionist power. They are not trying to influence the politics of the domestic politics of the United States or any other country. It's a very tiny country in a very vast canvas of Arabs and Muslims that just want to exist. It just want to exist in peace. This is Israel. And claiming that, Israel is so powerful that it comes to the United States and train, the New York police to do things. Of course, it's not accurate and it's not true. And it is even, I would say, it's a toxic narrative that is not serving any good purpose other than demonizing not Israel, not the IDF, but the NYPD, the New York Police Department that he mentioned in this context.
Okay. And was Mamdani in the past affiliated with Students for Justice in Palestine?
That's what I read. I mean, from some trusted resources. I don't have actually much information about that. But it's good you mentioned the Students for Justice in Palestine because it's not only Mamdani, but I believe it has over time produced several characters who look from the first glimpse, you would think they are open-minded people, they are liberals, they are good people that belong to the very diverse American culture, but actually they are the opposite of that. Students of Justice in Palestine is one of the places where systematic radicalization is happening. It's a process I like to call, it's a strange term, but I made it up. It's called the Palestinization of American politics. What does it mean? It means, for me, look at me as one example. When I was a student in like an undergraduate student in Egypt, in Cairo, long time ago, this was the time of the Second Intifada. I also made groups on my campus similar to the Students for Justice in Palestine here, which I call the Kufiyya groups here in the United States. I also made groups who tried to indoctrinate me to believe that we are doing something good by leading these protests against Israel, by saying that Israel bad, by putting on a kufiyya on my shoulders and walking around with this kufiyya.
The Palestinian shawl.
The Palestinian shawl, yeah, for the people who don't know. So these people do exist. And in the past year, past academic year, I toured American universities, and I visited actually 59 campuses, which
Um,
it was not even in my dreams. I'm very proud and excited about this. I visited 59 campuses, spoke with students from different backgrounds, Jewish students, Arab students, Muslim students from Southeast Asia, and we discussed all of that. And actually, I think many of them fall an easy prey to groups like SGB because they really believe they are doing something good. They are fighting for a cause. But actually, the majority of the people leading these protests, who are directly like direct members of the SGB, and so they are the evil ones. And unfortunately, they have very strange links also, as we have seen proven in some reports, to even powers from outside the United States. You can, for example, go to the report that was issued by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence in the United States. It's one of the very, very respected governmental offices on this. In July 2024, they issued a report wherein they proved that the encampments that were held at American campuses the end of the academic year before, in 2024, were sponsored by Iran. And there were Iranian agents on these campuses running the protests, making sure the encampments will remain intact, training the students who are joining on how to deal with the police forces, and so on. So this was not spontaneous reaction, but I believe groups like the Kufia groups, like Students for Justice in Palestine, they were just also waiting for the right opportunity to come up and do this evil. And also we have to keep in mind, as now we are seeing someone who used to belong to the SGB, according to reports, like Mamdani, is now becoming a famous politician and most likely to win elections in New York, mayoral elections in New York. We have also to keep in mind that some of the students who have been indoctrinated by the SJP in the past 2 years, sooner or later, they will be in very sensitive positions in the government, in politics, and they will replicate just the same story of Mamdani again and again.
who are the people around him that could influence Mamdani to be really negative about Israel?
Uh, that's a good question. I don't know him personally, so I really don't know how to answer this question, but at least I can judge from the groups supporting him. And they fall mainly in two categories: either radical leftist groups who know nothing about the Middle East, and they are very distant. They barely know the Middle East from what their colleagues are telling them or their friends are telling them about. And the other group is the radical Islamists of the Middle East who fled the Middle East, especially from the Muslim Brotherhood, who fled the Middle East from in the past decade because of the crackdown that was practiced on them in the region by Arab countries that banned the Muslim Brotherhood and arrested its members and so. So where did they go? They came to places like the UK, where they are very, very influential there. Canada, there is a big number of them in Canada. And as you all know, I mean, God help Canada. Canada is in a very tough position right now because of the Muslim Brotherhood and the radical Islamists there. And a good portion of them came to the United States. The ones who came to the United States were quickly naturalized because they came on the grounds that they were prosecuted in their countries, and they sought asylum and so, and they got it. And it was also the time of the Arab Spring, when people seeking asylum from the Middle East, it's easy to mix them with the liberal democratic movement that started the Arab Spring without showing their real face, as they claim they are human rights activists and not really radical Islamists. So they had an opportunity here. And instead of just using this opportunity to be good people, you know, maybe merge into the society, they did exactly the same game they have playing in every Western society they went to since the 1960s, which is to try to change this society to adopt their ideology. How they do that? Through infiltrating into the open society that they are in. For example, it's so ironic that we didn't see similar protests pro Gaza protests similar to what happened here in the United States happening in Arab countries. Why? Because the people who organize and lead these protests are not there anymore. They are here. They are in the West now. These are who these people are: the Muslim Brotherhood. And unfortunately, a good portion of them now are big supporters of people like Mamdani and other also candidates whom they think they will further open this open society so these bad actors, the radical Islamists, can go on with their plan to abuse this open society for their advantage and sabotage the West from within. Which, by the way, this word sabotage the West from within is not my word. It's written in their documents, in their strategy documents from 1980s, 1990s, where they said explained very clearly how they want to destroy North America from within. The document is called the Explanatory Memorandum. You can find it in Arabic and English online if you just search the name. And it was discovered by the FBI and was one of the main documents in the Holy Land Foundation trial in 2008. They said very clearly they made some steps on how to sabotage the West from within, the civilization, the Western civilization from within, through actually part one of the steps was to first of all abuse the open society, and another step was to align people from other political groups that agree with them, which we are seeing now happening, which is aligning the radical left. I tell you a very weird conversation I had recently with a friend here in Washington. She's a strong supporter of this idea of violence. She's American, by the way. She's not Arab. She's not Muslim. Not anything. She identifies as liberal, left, progressive, and she's lesbian. And I told her, do you know that if you go to the Middle East, you'll be immediately slaughtered? Hamas will kill you just for nothing other than your sexual orientation. So you have to stop supporting this ideology because you are just empowering them to do evil. And she said to me, I don't care about all of that. Let them slaughter me. I don't mind as long as her idea, as long as Israel did not stop brutalizing the Gazans in such a way. I'm ready to sacrifice my life for that, you know? So this is the perception. And unfortunately, this is only one example of how the radical left, who are thinking of themselves as liberal, progressives, and so are brainwashed to now adopt the same ideology of the radical Islamists and do the work on behalf of them, actually. The killing, a few months ago, we witnessed the killing of a young man and his girlfriend. Both of them were working at the Israeli embassy in Washington,
Yeah.
D.C. I knew the guy, Yaron. Actually, on that day, we were having lunch together after one conference at the Middle East Forum. And in the evening, we got the news that he was killed. My first impression was that, okay, maybe an Islamist killed him, you know? But guess what? A guy who belongs to the radical left, who's not even from the Middle East, who's not even a Muslim. His name tells that he's coming from Latin American origins. He killed them, and then he killed the two of them, the guy and his girlfriend, Yaron and Sarah, and he shouted, free Gaza, free Palestine, after killing them. Can you believe this? It's not
No.
anymore. Actually, Islamists are living their best life right now. They are in politics. They having the radical left doing the work for them, either in politics or in the dirty terrorist work. So they are living their best days right now.
So,
And how,
what? Yeah, sorry, Phyllis.
no, I just wanted to say, and how can they be stopped?
How can we, sorry?
How can these people be stopped?
How can they be stopped? This is a very difficult question because it requires work from different directions. So first, what we are doing right now, exposing them, telling the world who they really are, what is their ideology, what are their goals. This is a very, very important step, but it's not enough. There has to be alternatives to the political advances they are making. For example, Mamdani wouldn't have a chance to run for these elections if there were a strong alternative from the other side, from a side that can really challenge him. The main reason he's winning is that there is no one to challenge him, to really challenge him. I mean, on the political level, in the political competition, he does not have appropriate challenge. So as long as this is the case, so don't expect, unfortunately, that we can advance much by just exposing who they are. Then on the very top level, on the administration level, which I think the Trump administration is trying to do right now, is to intervene through its governmental power to stop these people. We saw, for example, most recently, something amazing happened, perhaps for the first time. One of the main puppets of the Muslim Brotherhood, who has been going on around the world speaking, actually, like spreading poison everywhere, trying to beautify the Muslim Brotherhood and their ideology, was arrested. He's from the UK and he has some Arab origins, and so he came to the US and he was arrested by
What's his
ICE.
name?
Sami Hamdi al-Hashimi. Yeah, I think maybe I hope I'm not mistaken. I hope I didn't make any mistakes in the name.
Okay.
But yeah, it's yeah, but he's very well known and he came here on a speaking tour. Uh, he actually one of the early people who glorified Hamas for what they did on October 7. He said very openly that every Muslim should be celebrating in their heart for what because October 7 happened. Things like that, like raping and killing women and children and kidnapping the elderly is something to celebrate. And it's crazy. It's just crazy. And I'm glad that the US did not allow this in the name because the game they are playing, they come to the US and say, and Western countries in general, and say these things thinking, oh, it's free speech. I have the right to say whatever I want to say. It's free speech. It's a free country. You can't arrest me because I have an opinion. And so, but no, now I think the administration is taking very good steps to stop these people without harming free speech and democracy. So they are stopping the right people. They are not just putting a ban on every opinion, but on certain individuals who should not be allowed to spread this poison. But how long this is going to last, of course, we don't know because the resistance to government positions on this is very strong. And we cannot guarantee that this will be the case on the long run.
So, with respect to Israel, do you know about the policy that the Mamdani campaign is propagating? What can we expect from Mamdani as a mayor towards Israel and towards and for the safety of the Jewish community in New York?
Actually, for his credit, he said something once. He said, "I'm not running for Israel. I'm running for a position in New York," and this is true. So I don't think he will have an influence, at least at that level now. on things in Israel or the US policy in Israel, for example, but his party could, and by the way, I want to say, even despite my criticism to the direction the Democratic Party is heading into now, I consider myself actually leaning toward the Democratic Party more than anything else, because I still remember the Democratic Party that supported us when we were leading the Arab Spring in the Middle East. I still remember the Democratic Party that embraced classic liberal values, that challenged more conservative values that actually were not benefiting the American society in any way. So this is the party that I dream would come back, actually. But unfortunately, what we're seeing is that it's heading completely in the wrong direction, because some kind of infiltration happened into the party in the past few years with these two main groups, the radical left and the radical Islamists. And this is what I believe, that the party itself may have, like its policies toward this Israel, may actually impact the US policies toward this Israel, either directly if they are the ones in power, or indirectly by through checks and balances and pressuring and so. So this is the thing to consider. Now looking at Mamdani himself, most recently, only literally in the past month or two, he started to fix his rhetoric or his narrative about the Jewish people in New York, which is his community. And he started to showcase some Jewish people from New York who joined his campaign, and trying to give the impression that actually all the Jewish people there support him and they want him. But I can tell you from my direct experience with people living in New York, people I know very well, no, they are very concerned. And even forget about my experience. A couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, more than 1,000 rabbi across New York, they signed a statement together saying that they are concerned that Mamdani now has greater chance to win. This should not be taken lightly. It's since when we have 1,000 rabbis agree on anything, Since when?
Yeah.
Since when? So
Yeah.
the fact that they agree on this, it's a sign that something serious is happening here.
What are they
Something
concerned about? Do you know that?
in their statement, they are concerned about the safety of their community. They are concerned about that the anti-Semitic rhetoric will get stronger and stronger by having someone like Mamdani with the ideology that he represents, the socialist, this mix between socialist Islamist ideology will repeat the tragedies that happened to them in socialist Islamist societies in other places in the world.
Yeah.
And by the way, this should not be taken lightly also, because New York is home for 12 million, I guess, I hope also I'm right with this number, 12 million Jews.
No.
In the US, I guess 12 million in the US?
No.
No, it's not accurate.
No, it's much less. No, there
Yeah,
are
but
1.2 million
in New York.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not okay. It's not a small number. And I
No.
think 6 million in the US, if I'm not sure about the exact numbers.
Yes, about
Yeah.
about 6 million
So
Jews.
even this number is bigger than the number of the Jewish people in Israel itself.
No, it's a little less than the number of Jews in Israel. So most Jews live in Israel, and then America is the second largest
Oh, wow.
place.
Okay, good.
And within America, New York is the biggest Jewish community. Yeah.
Exactly. So, okay, but this actually still makes the point valid that the fear of the Jewish community in New York should not be just dismissed by claiming that, oh, I have Jews in my campaign. Okay, whom do they represent? How big is the community they represent? Actually, this type of Jews who are joining your campaign. We have to keep this in mind. And what about the others who are scared of repeating the tragedies that happened with them in Europe and in the Middle East? So this all has to be should be kept in mind while looking at the Mamdani phenomena, if we can call it, yeah, phenomenon.
Dalia, let's shift to another a topic that you can speak so interestingly about. You were still living in Egypt on October 7th, 2023. Can you please share your story with us of how you reacted to October 7th and the things that happened after that to you?
Yeah, actually, I have also to say that previously I studied here in the United States several years ago, and I worked also here for about 7 years. And then I went back to Egypt, with the time of all the big hopes we had after the Arab Spring that we can build a new state, a new life, and new democracy in Egypt. Like it's all the Mission Impossible dreams. So then I was leading a think tank, working on liberal democratization in Egypt and also fighting against the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, working on Muslim-Jewish dialogue, everything in life was great until October 7 happened. And I was invited to speak in an Arabic media about October 7 and the war in Gaza, and they asked me, they expected me to comment in a way that shows celebration of October 7, because this was the mood there at that time in Egypt. This was the mood. Everyone is celebrating October 7 and saying Israel has no right to go behind Hamas in Gaza and so. But actually, I just decided to say the truth, especially that I saw the videos of what happened on October 7. So I said very clearly that Hamas is a terrorist organization, and what happened on October 7 is pure terrorism, and they should be held accountable for that. And I support Israel's right to go after them in Gaza and get Hamas and punish Hamas for what they did. Similar to what any other country in the world would do. And I even said that if Arab countries, Arab leaders are thinking straight, they should be backing Israel in this war because it's leading a war on behalf of all of us in the Middle East. And actually saying that at the very early days of October 7, or after the October 7 attack, immediately stirred a terrible backlash against me. That started first by radical Islamists from the Salafists. First, the Muslim Brotherhood attacked me, Hamas attacked me on social media and media outlets, and then a group from the Salafists who were operating in my family neighborhood, they went to our family house looking for me. And they wanted to punish me violently, of course, for condemning Hamas. How dare I? And then, but still, this was not the shocking part. The shocking part was when I contacted the Egyptian authorities to tell them that my life is in danger, I need your protection. And the very senior officer I spoke to, who could really help me with the snap of a finger, very easily, and he refused. He said, "We have nothing to do with you anymore. Let them kill you. You made all of us upset." And I told him, "Why are you saying this? Aren't you also against Hamas?" Because Egypt banned the Muslim Brotherhood, and Egypt has been fighting against Hamas in Sinai. You would think that they should be happy with the fact that Israel is fighting against Hamas. But unfortunately, he told me, "No, it's not about Hamas. It's about the fact that you said you support Israel." So for him, my crime was that I support Israel. For the radicals, the Salafists, my crime was that I condemned Hamas, the Muslim movement. So, and the next morning, just overnight, literally, I found a number of legal claims filed against me, accusing me of spying for the Israeli Mossad, attacking, for committing high treason, like a number of accusations that has nothing to do with the truth, and threatening Egypt's national security. Like literally, look at me. Am I a threat to Egypt's national security? Insane. So I had to act very, very quickly and leave. And I was very lucky. I had great friends from my previous life here in the US who quickly intervened, and from Israel too. Actually, imagine like when they were in the middle of this mess, they did not ignore me. They did not want me to be harmed in any way. So they intervened very, very quickly to get me out on the right time before any harm happens to me. And I came to the US, this is so funny. I came thinking that, oh, I left the bad guys behind. Now, it's a different world, different people. But to my shock, the bad guys were everywhere here too. And since I came for 2 years now, I've been just fighting against them everywhere. I go in university campuses, in political circles, in social circles, in educational circles, academic, I mean, everywhere. And I'm confident that we will eventually win this fight because we have seen before that evil never wins. Yes, it may have its own moment for a while, but it never wins eventually. And I so much believe that we will win, and we will win soon. We will not wait for so long until we see this evil punished for what they did.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Phyllis.
I just wish that I had the same positive attitude. I'm reading a short book that the senior rabbi of Park Avenue Synagogue wrote after October 7th called For Such a Time as This, I'm Being Jewish Today, and I'm deeply, deeply disturbed by what he thinks Mamdani and others will do.
What is it? What is it? Could you be specific?
Yes, he thinks that American Jews are divided. It's the clearest explanation I have ever read
Mm.
of the difference between American Jewish mindset and Israeli Jewish mindset.
Mhm.
And so basically what he's saying is that many, 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 many American Jews who support Mamdani and are going to vote for him are just divorced from what he's saying because they want something free or they want something this. And Rabbi Koskov, Dalia Koskov, makes a very, very strong case that at this time we have to vote against someone whose ideology would be to destroy us. So.
Well, we don't want to give any
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just saying.
any voting recommendations here.
No, I'm just saying. But that's what the letter that Dalia responded to. That's what the rabbis.
The 1,000 rabbis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, Phyllis, actually, there is at some circles in the Jewish community here, I noticed this, just it's a personal observation. They feel that Israel and what's happening in the Middle East has put a lot of weight on them already, on the lives they are trying to live here. And some of them, they are very few, but they are now advocating for distincting ourselves from what's happening there in the Middle East and just focusing on American Jews inside America. So, but I think this is also not good for the Jewish community here because it's technically it cuts it from its roots.
Yes, it's exactly what Rabbi Cosgrove is saying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Evelyn, we're coming to the end of this interview. Is there a question that you would like to
No,
ask? Would you?
we asked all our questions. So
Okay, so Adalia, I can't thank you enough for this enlightening, although I'm not as optimistic as you are in terms of what's going to happen here. And I thank our listeners for listening. For those of you who want to know more about Evelyn and myself and our work in this arena, please go to neveragainisnowpodcast.com on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. And wherever you are, wherever you can do this, please speak up against anti-Semitism and all hate.